Well, public services have shut down across Greece as workers walked off the job in the latest nationwide strike. In Athens, protesters scuffled with the police who fired tear gas. Bus and ferry services have been disrupted, leaving some tourists stranded in protests against plan, pension and labour reforms. The industrial action is another in a series of mass demonstrations against a swathe of severe austerity measures. All right, let's now talk to Mats Persson, Research Director at the Open Europe Independent Think Tank. He joins us live from London. Mr. Persson, many EU nations, like Greece, have now decided to tighten their belts and cut back. Do you think that's the right approach?
Well, they have little choice, to be honest. Most European countries' finances, public finances, are in a terrible mess, and they will just have to do something to address that. So in that sense, yes, I do think it's the right choice.
Now, some analysts say that the Greek debt crisis was the eurozone's biggest test and believe it failed that test. What's your take on the way the EU handled the crisis?
Well, the eurozone was in many ways a flawed project from the beginning, because it assumed that very different types of economies could share the same currency. And we do see now the effects of that flawed assumption. And Greece, of course, is in a very difficult position. And I do think that EU leaders have not handled this particularly well, but they've also been put in a situation that was very difficult to find another solution to. In other words, they would have to bail out Greece, or the eurozone could simply crumble.
Now, Germany has taken up much of the burden of the Greek bailout, but with speculation of the possibility of more bailouts, do you think that it could lead to Germany simply saying, enough is enough, why should we pay for them?
German taxpayers and voters are quite clearly fed up with this entire bailout business, and quite understandably so, because in effect, what you ask taxpayers to pay for the mistakes of a government in a different country over which they have no democratic control. So, yes, German taxpayers are upset, and if this is something that will take place on a permanent basis, in other words, if we will see more bailouts 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road, then I do think that Germany will be, or German voters and taxpayers will at one point maybe say enough is enough, as you say.
Well, you are presenting a gloomy forecast here. Now, the euro has fallen consistently in the wake of the crisis. How realistic are fears that the countries which use it as their currency might start ditching it?
At this point, we should not underestimate the political prestige that has gone into this whole project from the very beginning, and the political will by EU leaders to do whatever they can do to save this project now when it's coming up against very difficult problems. So at this point, I think they will muddle through. However, again, down the road, we may see these problems come to the fore again, because let's remember, these bailout packages do not solve any of the fundamental problems, which is that countries such as Greece and also a few other European countries simply aren't competitive. They simply aren't growing, and their public finances are unsustainable. More loans in the temporary term will not solve those problems.
All right, Mats Persson, Research Director at the Open Europe Independent Think Tank.